Alright, so today I'm going to be comparing this new concealer palette from Maybelline. I just ran into this the other day in Target. And I noticed that it looks a lot like the MAC Correct and Conceal palette. I did a video on this years ago, and it's still one of my most popular videos here on YouTube. So I'm going to compare these two. So just here they are side by side. The colors are pretty much the same. Like if I flip this like this, it would be pretty similar. But this is a brightening shade, a correcting shade, and 4 concealer shades. The only difference is with the Maybelline, you still get the 2 correcting shades, the brightening and the color correcting. The 2 is just concealer, and then these 2 are highlight shades. I did swatch these last night. Oh, the little brush fell out. I did swatch these last night, and these 2 highlighting shades are shimmery. So just to give you swatches, this is something that the MAC palette does not have. One is super shimmery and the other one is not. So these are swatches of the 2 highlighting shades. As you can see, this one is shimmery and this one is not. It's just flat. I'm doing horrible swatches on my hand, just as a heads up, so you know. Looks kind of messy. I should have planned this a little bit better, but hey, we're just going with it. Alright, so that's a noticeable comparison. This is the Maybelline yellow corrector or brightener, and then right underneath it, right here, this is the MAC. If you look at it, the Maybelline is a lot more ashy. Oh, somebody's calling me. A lot more ashy. And for this to be the deep, or what's it called? Yeah. For this to be the deep palette, this is not a deep corrector. This is very ashy, especially it's ashy on me, and I'm not even the darkest of the dark. I'm like in the middle. So for this to be so ashy on me, that tells me that it's not brown girl friendly at all. But this is just the first impression. And this one is the MAC, and which I think is better for our skin tone. It's has more like a golden undertone, which looks a lot better on women of color. So that's just a first impression. Bother. Okay, so the corrector shade looks pretty good, because one thing I didn't like about the MAC corrector shade is I thought the orange was too bright, which I still do, and it actually looks kind of pink on me, which it's okay. It should be more, for it to be a correcting shade, it should be more peachy toned, so it can be like a darker peachy tone, or like if you're a lighter skin, a lighter peachy tone. But I think the MAC was much brighter than what I like. So here is the Maybelline corrector, and this is the MAC, and as you can tell, there is a difference between the two. The MAC is much brighter, and it does kind of have a pink tone to it, which is a good thing, but it's kind of way too bright for my liking. After I filmed the correcting or the first impression a while ago, I didn't use this a lot more, because if you can see, if you just look at the palette, I use these concealer shades all the time, but this I rarely use, and these I've used some, but these right here, yes. This is a highlight shade and it's shimmery, so I'm not going to compare that, but these 3 concealer shades I'll compare to the MAC palette. And I'm going to have to take this off. Oh gosh, I'm making a mess. Alright, so right off the bat, the color is very different. These colors look a lot lighter in the Maybelline palette than they do in the MAC palette. The concealer shades are NC45, NC50, NW45, and NW55. So this comes with 4 concealer shades, whereas the Maybelline only comes with 3. And really and truly, 2 of the 3 look very similar. Like these 2 right here to me look very, very similar, and then that's the only one that's kind of brown girl friendly. So if you're darker than me, this would not be like something that you can use for highlight and contour. You could just use it for color correcting and probably highlighting, because this is the darkest of the shades, and this is probably a good concealer for my complexion. So as far as calling this palette deep, I do not agree with, because like I said, I'm like in the mid-range of brown girls. So this ain't deep, this is medium, if you ask me. Back of the palette, it does tell you how to use it, and I like how it compares to the palette. So step 1 is to correct. So you use these 2 correcting shades, and that's what it says on the back, and it even highlights which ones to use. Step 2 is to conceal, which will be one of these 2 shades, and that's highlighted. And then step 3 is to highlight, which is one of those 2 shades. So I do like that it gives directions, especially if you're new to this. You won't have to go at it alone. Alright, so here are the comparisons. The 3 on top here are the Maybelline shades. This is from the lightest to the darkest. This has like a peach undertone. It's a tan kind of shade. Okay, that looks better. These are the 3 Maybelline shades. This one in the middle has more like a yellow undertone, and then this is the one that I guess would be my complexion, and it is. It's a little bit more red, but it's pretty good for my shade. So if this is the dark in the palette, that's a problem, because this is the color that I would use to conceal. So if you're darker than me, then this is probably not a good palette for you. I forgot to mention the price. This was $9.99 in Target, and the Correct and Conceal palette from MAC runs about $40. So from a price standpoint, you better go with this Maybelline girl, but from a color standpoint, not so much. So those are the 3 shades. These are the 4 MAC shades. So this is NC45, NC50, NW45, and NW55. And the thing that I do like about this palette is I can contour, correct, and highlight all in the same palette. Unless you are my complexion or lighter, you will not be able to do all 3 just using this palette. Alright, so that looks okay. Alright, so if you look at it, the MAC side is a lot brighter. Like I said, this Maybelline side looks a lot more neutral. I really like the tone of this correcting shade. It kind of reminds me of the LA Girl corrector, which I absolutely love. I use it every single day. So maybe this will be a good replacement for that. Not replacement, but you know, if you want to just carry one thing when you're traveling or something, as opposed to carrying multiple things, this might be better. So that's that. I'm gonna go and put my foundation on. I'm just gonna stipple on a little bit of foundation, and I'll come back just to show you what I used. So I'm gonna use the e.l.f. brush with the Maybelline for absolutely no reason, just because this is the first one I picked up. So I'm going to I'm going to, here's the thing, I really want to mix 2 shades, but I'm not going to do that for the purpose of this video. I'm just going to go in with this shade right here, which is a highlighting shade, and I'm just going to go right under my eyes. Actually, I'm going to just tap it in with my finger first. And with this brush, I'm going to spray it with a little water and just tap it in just like I did with my foundation. So for my highlighter, I'm going to use the NC45. What little bit is left in here, I have to scrape the sides on this one because I absolutely love it. But alright, so it looks pretty good. I'm gonna go and finish my face, but this is the MAC side. Oh, excuse my hair. This is the MAC side, and this is the Maybelline side. So if you look directly at me, this is how it looks. You can't really tell that I use drugstore on one side and MAC on the other side. So even the color, which didn't swatch very well on my hand or didn't look comparable on my hand when I swatched it, looks pretty good right now. So here we go, and I'll come back with the final look. Alright, so here is the final look. I just added some powder to finish off everything. I did a finishing powder, I did a setting powder and a finishing powder. I contoured a little bit, just a powder contour. I didn't do a cream contour or anything. Contour my nose just a tiny bit, and I highlighted. And I added a lip. So this is what it looks like. I'll come back in a few hours, or not in a few hours. I'll come back at the end of the day just to update you all on my final thoughts on everything. But so far, I'm pleased with both. It's not, well, I'm not gonna say both. I'm pleased with Maybelline. I've already tried the MAC. I think it looks okay. Like I said before, I've said this many times, I don't think it is brown girl friendly for this to be called deep. If you are my complexion or lighter, then this may work for you. But if you're darker than me, I wouldn't suggest it because you wouldn't get any use out of those other two lighter shades. And I just think there are far better products out there. Like Makeup Forever has a really good contour, or not a contour, I keep saying contour. Makeup Forever has a really good concealer palette or camouflage palette. The NYX one is okay. I wouldn't suggest that one either. The MAC one is pretty good. And even Black Radiance, which I haven't tried, but I have seen them in Walmart. They have really good kits as well. It just comes with 3 shades, but they're big pans, and you would probably get more use out of that. Because I find with the palette, most of the time I only get use out of maybe 2 or 3 of the shades, and everything else just I use every now and then, just kind of out of obligation because I know I bought it and I need to use it. As you can see with the MAC palette, I only used 2 of those shades religiously, and the other ones I just kind of used every now and then. So hello and welcome back. So it is a little after 10, and I just wanted to come back and show you all both sides. So once again, this was the Maybelline side, and this was the MAC side. And I don't notice one thing on one side that I don't on the other. Overall, it looks pretty even. So I would say probably that this Maybelline palette is a definite dupe. You heard my reviews before, so you know all about that and what I think about it as far as the first impression. But overall, I would say that this is a definite win. So if you like this sort of thing, thumbs up or leave a comment below. And until next time, bye.